Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty incredible. We are going to explore why mastering the simplest, most everyday act of cooking is actually the profound secret to unlocking human health, creating perfect relationships, and even understanding cosmic balance. I'm absolutely thrilled to share this with you because honestly, it is going to completely change how you look at the world around you. To kick things off, let's ask a really fascinating linguistic question. Have you ever wondered why the Korean word for life, which is sam, sounds exactly the same as the verb to boil, which is samda? Is that just a random coincidence? Well, not at all. Ancient wisdom actually suggests that living a good life is literally the art of boiling things correctly. Okay, so let's break this down by comparing a standard cooking pot to the human body. When you think about it, they share the exact same raw ingredients, right? Water and fire. But the way they are physically structured couldn't possibly be more different. Think about your kitchen for a second. We can call this easy mode. When you're cooking, you put the pot of water on top and you light the fire underneath. This creates an effortless harmony. And why is that? Because fire naturally wants to rise up and water naturally wants to sink down. They meet perfectly in the middle. The water boils and your meal is cooked with minimal effort. But humans? We're playing on hard mode. We're physically built entirely upside down compared to that cooking pot. Our fiery organ, the heart, sits way up at the top of our torso. Meanwhile, our watery organs, the kidneys, are parked all the way down at the bottom. So, if we just leave our bodies alone and let physics do its thing, it plays out in the worst way possible. The fire from our heart shoots straight up into our head, and that causes stress, anger, headaches, and a really hot temper. Meanwhile, the water from our kidneys drops down to our feet, leaving our toes and extremities freezing cold. The energies completely separate, leaving the core of our body totally empty and vulnerable to disease. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that we have to actively reverse this flow to survive and thrive. This brings us to a foundational concept called Susangwagang. It translates beautifully to water up, fire down. It is the intentional daily practice of pulling your cool, calming water energy up and pushing your hot, fiery energy down into your belly. So, how do we actually pull this off? The steps are beautifully simple, though, they do take some practice. Step 1, you have to stop getting angry. Whenever you lose your temper, you're basically throwing gasoline on that rising fire and sending it straight to your brain. Step 2, breathe deeply into your lower belly, a spot known as the danjon. You have to actively pull that cooling water energy up. If you want to know who the absolute masters of Susengwa are, just look at a baby. Babies naturally breathe right from their lower bellies. You can literally sit there and watch their little stomachs rise and fall. They aren't stressed out, they don't hold a bunch of tension in their chest, and by constantly pulling that water energy up, they keep their bodies perfectly harmonized and warmly energized. And this brings us to a really powerful realization. Harmonizing water and fire in your body is the ultimate body conditioning. By mastering this internal boiling process, you create an incredibly robust, warm immune system. Diseases like cancer, for instance, actually thrive in a body that drops even just 1 degree in temperature. But if you keep your fire down and your core warm, disease simply cannot survive. Now, what's truly fascinating is how this exact same internal mechanic scales up to our interpersonal relationships, especially marriages. We've mastered the cooking pot. We've looked at the human body. So now let's take a look at the home. In a lot of traditional relationship dynamics, we see a clash of these exact same elements. Men often exhibit fire-like traits. They ignite quickly, move fast, but they can also fade out fast. Women, on the other hand, often exhibit water-like traits, maybe taking a bit more time to warm up, but they retain that warmth for much, much longer. If both partners just let their natural elements run wild, the fire burns out, the water stays cold, and the relationship breaks. But successfully uniting them requires mutual patience and pacing adjustments. This beautiful, balanced state is called Yum-Yang Hapduk, the harmonious union of yin, the water, and yang, the fire. It is basically the relational version of a perfectly cooked meal. All right, let's zoom out even further, because if you thought this water and fire dynamic was just about cooking, or our bodies, or even our relationships, prepare to have your mind blown. Our entire universe operates on this exact same blueprint. The universe is essentially a massive cosmic cooking pot. We have the sun acting as the ultimate original fire, and the earth, which remember is 70% water, acting as the ultimate cosmic water. Just like we need to pull water up in our own bodies, the cosmos is doing its own massive Suzunhagang right over our heads. The sun's intense heat beams down, pulling the Earth's water up drop by drop into the atmosphere. This incredible, heavy effort forms massive clouds. And when these highly charged cosmic energies of fire and water finally meet in the sky, they create something totally explosive: lightning. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer, unimaginable power generated when cosmic water and fire meet. A single lightning strike packs up to 1 billion volts of electricity. To put that into perspective, if we could capture just one strike perfectly, it could light a 100-watt bulb for a billion people for an entire hour. Now, you might be thinking a billion volts of cosmic energy clashing is a pretty rare event, right? Actually, no. This monumental exchange of water and fire happens an astounding 100 times every single second across our globe. It is a constant, raging cosmic kitchen up there. But why does the universe do this? Well, it's literally cooking our food. This extreme lightning heat, reaching temperatures hotter than the sun's surface, shatters the tough nitrogen molecules right in the air. This broken nitrogen mixes with oxygen and rain to form nitric acid. It then falls back to the earth as a vital natural liquid fertilizer that plants use to create the very proteins that sustain all life on this planet. The numbers here are just mind-boggling. A staggering 70% of the protein-building nitrogen on our planet is quite literally cooked up by these cosmic lightning storms. The remaining 30%? It comes from humble plants like beans, which have special root nodule bacteria that do that exact same nitrogen-fixing work right down in the soil. What all this massive, violent, and beautiful cosmic effort shows us is that the universe itself is not yet a finished product. It's an incomplete universe, actively evolving, sweating, and working incredibly hard to achieve a state of complete, effortless harmony. You can actually see this struggle reflected in cultural symbols. Take the Korean flag, the Taejaegugi, which features red fire on top and blue water on the bottom. This actually symbolizes a universe still in the difficult, active process of trying to achieve balance. The idealized, completed state would be the exact opposite, the cool blue water safely resting on top of the warm red fire. Ultimately, whether you are trying to cook a delicious dinner, calm your anxious mind, foster a deeply loving relationship, or just simply understand the raw power of a thunderstorm outside your window, it all comes down to mastering the exact same natural law. So, as you step away from this explainer and go about your day, I want to leave you with this final vital question. Are you letting your internal fire burn out of control and rise to your head? Or are you actively pulling that water up, staying grounded, and carefully boiling your life into a masterpiece? Keep your fire down, keep your water up, and I will see you next time.